I have to say the game scales really well from 2 to 5 players. Each set of players, 2, 3, 4, and 5, has a different board. One side will be a 2-player, and then you flip it over, it'll be a 3-player, and then you have a separate board that's 4-player, and you flip it over as 5-player. That scales really well. It's better than sticking one map on there and hoping that it works well with multiple players, because really the number of territories is really going to affect how the game plays, whether you have a crowded map or a not crowded map. Also, I think it plays really fast.
Yeah, it does.
I think it's something that a lot of people won't get bogged down with decision anxiety, and I think that really strengthens the fun factor for me.
It does play rather fast. There's not much else I can say about it. I mean, it's a very innovative game. I've never played anything like it, and like I said, when I first played it, I originally thought it was going to be a lot of fun. It just got, I guess after like the third game, I was kind of burnt out on it.
Yeah.
It just kind of
may have even been the second game. But moving on to the rules, I have to say, it's another very easy game to teach. I mean, there are quite a few rules, but most of the rules come into how do the different race power combinations work.
Right. Another little thing that I found a little bit confusing, not really confusing, but the rules come off as kind of confusing, but aren't really. It just seems that way. Like when it talks about, at the beginning of your turn, you redistribute your people, and then at the end of your turn, if you were attacked, you redistribute your people, and it kind of confused me in the beginning, but then once you get it, it's fine.
Yeah, it lacks a little intuitiveness, but I think that it's just something. It's not really difficult to understand. It's just difficult to remember and to get under control. But once you've got that, I think that the rules are pretty cut and dry. The one thing I will say is that the game has, if I can find it. Okay, can't find it. The game has several of these little sheets that you can use for everybody to see the different race combinations and how the powers work with them and stuff like that. However, they don't always give you the complete description, and so when you're reading it at your table, you're like, how does this work? And you have to go to the manual in order to see the complete description of how the powers work. But it's just one of those things where it could have been, and it's a huge sheet that they use for cheat sheets, and they give you 6. You could only ever have a 5-player game, but they give you 6.
The size of the box.
Yeah, it takes up the whole box size, and it's a nice sheet, but I would have just preferred if they could have gotten it, used a little smaller font and got all the rules on there as opposed to just a few of them. But like I said, the rules easy to follow, easy to teach. Other than the unintuitiveness to begin with, I think that nobody will really have a problem learning the game. As far as the components go,
Days of Wonder
is about the best when it comes to components. People talk about Vinci a lot, having a strong theme, but in the case of Days of Wonder, all the different races have their own special tokens, and they not only have their own special tokens, but they have their own special token box, so you can sort them all, and you can keep them all sorted. And this is just about perfect. I say just about perfect because as you're taking things out and putting them back in, they'll fall down on their face, and you've got to pry them out, and it's really hard to keep them all sorted and keep them all from falling down and getting stuck, and it's a crazy contraption of a box. But it doesn't stop with just the tokens either. There's a whole box for sorting all of your races, all of your powers, all of the special little tokens, and for once, and Days of Wonder has done this a couple times, but for once in the manual they actually tell you how you're supposed to lay everything out and how you're supposed to put it back in the box. And for the most part, this is a great idea. But it kind of fails when it gets to all the little tokens and you're trying to keep all the coins together, and they're all falling down and they're getting mixed up, and it's just... And the other thing that really annoys me is like each thing has its own specific compartment, and they all have different numbers of tokens, but they're all the same size. So something that has 5 tokens as opposed to something that has 8 tokens will have the same size compartment, and so it will be really loose, and it will be falling down and getting horizontal as opposed to vertical, and it's just overall kind of annoying. So it could have used a little work, but great effort on their behalf. I mean, like I said, Days of Wonder is like the king of components. Everything looks beautiful. everything. The one annoyance is a lot of people have complained about the theme of Small World just because it's kind of a goofy fantasy theme, and it's really making fun of a lot of fantasy races. I find it kind of cute and entertaining. At the same time, I could have done with a more realistic fantasy theme, I think.
I like the cute theme.
I think there's just a few things that annoy me, like the snot coming out of the dwarf's nose and stuff like that.
I missed that.
Yeah. I think it's on the actual cover. See the snot?
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah, it is. So there's minor things that really, apparently I'm doing this review for you now.
Tell me about the game, Randy.
But, components are great. I don't really like the coins as a victory point mechanic myself. I'd rather have like a score sheet or, heaven forbid, I know this is taboo in the board game industry, but paper money. Yeah, but it's really, I don't like victory point coins. They're just so hard to manage, and I could take the box out and use a little plastic baggie, but that upsets my obsessive compulsive nature.
We are very obsessive compulsive.
So that's my one drawback for the components section. But overall,
misery.
I found this game to be really entertaining. It's a nice, quick game. I need that type of game for a lot of friends because they're just not into board games as much as a lot of people are. So the quick, straight to the punch, easy to describe, easy to teach kind of game is something that has a place on my gaming shelf. And so for me, this is a strong B+ overall. What do you think overall?
I gave it a C+ overall. There are other quick games that I would prefer to show my friends that don't play board games. This one just, I don't know. I mean, like maybe it's one of those games you can't really play a lot. You have to play it like once in a blue moon because it got really old really fast with me. I just don't like the whole predictable, boring combat system.
I will say that this is probably the type of game that goes better the fewer times that you play it. You play it once and then you wait a few days and then you play it again, because the more you play it, the more the predictable nature comes out.
Right.
And so in that regard, I think that it's definitely a game that you should have some time between playing. But I really enjoyed it, and I think it is a game that most people can probably enjoy. To varying degrees, obviously, but it's not got any huge flaws to it.
Right, and I must say, as much as I dislike the mechanic, it's not a bad mechanic. I like the game as far as design. I think it's a really innovative and good game. I just don't like it personally. It just doesn't click with me at all. It's not a game I can play and enjoy.
I think it's the predictable nature, not necessarily the game.
Yeah, the game itself. I mean, it's a really nice game. I like the concept of it. I like the way it works. I just don't like playing it.
Yeah. So, I think this is the first game that we've done that we've almost completely disagreed on, but, that's the beauty of board games. Some people will love them and some people will, and this is, again, to be stressed, I don't think you hate the game.
I definitely don't hate the game.
Yeah. It's just kind of mediocre.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea.
For you.
For me.
I enjoy it. And to just for comparison's sake, I think the guy that we play with constantly also enjoys it, but I think he's between us. Yeah. So, very fun game. Stay tuned for the next show, and we will see you guys very soon.
Bye.